What if the hardest moments of your life are exactly what you need to become the person you dream on becoming? Today I want to show you 5 events most people avoid, but that if you use what I'm going to tell you in this video, can literally become your secret weapon. So if you ignore these or don't learn from them, I promise you're going to be stuck for the next 5 years. The moments you're most ashamed of, failure, rejection, or sometimes even losing it all, like the time I had negative $25 in my bank account. Those events, I promise you, are often the events that are going to make you super wealthy. Event number 1 is rejection. When I was 17 years old, I left Colombia because I did not like that place. And I left in hopes of getting something good because I wanted a 9 to 5, because I wanted an H-1B visa, and I just wanted to be sponsored and stay in the US. That was when I was 17. Up until 4 years ago, like very recently, I was still working a 9 to 5 in the US. I kept working on a 9 to 5 for 2 years later. But 4 years ago, I was happy. I had 2 degrees, a master's degree and an undergraduate degree from a university in the US. I had a great job in Nashville, Tennessee in an amazing agency. And that's all I wanted. I wanted a 9 to 5. I was chilling, great company, great perks, and I was having fun. But as you know, as an international student and as somebody that was an immigrant, I had to go through a specific process to get sponsored, and I had to get an H-1B. It was a very stressful moment, and I went through the entire application process. And even though I have an advanced degree from a university in the US, I got denied. And the scary part is that they told me because it's been denied, I had no longer any status in the US and that I had to leave, because if I stayed, obviously I was going to be illegal. Just like that, the US rejected me, rejected my process, rejected my company's application for me to get, a work visa. And just like that, overnight, I had to literally give stuff away, donate things away, put everything on Facebook Marketplace, say bye to all my friends that I met in Nashville. And honestly, I felt very powerless. I felt very humiliated. I felt very stressed. I cried. It was a horrible rejection. But looking back, that rejection saved me. It literally stopped me from living somebody else's dream. I no longer had to call anyone else a boss. While they were amazing people, there are amazing people, like it pushed me to do something different. When you do get rejected, because you will, and there's going to be obviously different types of rejection, mine completely changed my life. And I promise you that at that level, if you ever get that type of rejection, you will change your life. When you get rejected from a job, an opportunity, a client, a big contract, or even from a person, it's not bad. Rejection is oftentimes redirection. So let rejection be feedback, not the verdict from which you're gonna create your life. Event number 2 is heartbreak. Obviously, that's globally recognized. Everyone knows what it is, but heartbreak can really turn you into a different person. I'm gonna spare the details here because I don't feel like telling all my life and whatever. But especially you see this in men, where you see all these like funny videos on TikTok where it's like, how bad did it hurt? And it's like this guy out of shape, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They go through a heartbreak and instantly they start going to the gym, they start going better, they start getting ripped, eating better, creating businesses, whatever it is. And it's like such a huge transformation because there's something in heartbreak that just builds everyone up. So obviously I had a really bad breakup and it sucked. And honestly left me question my worth. But it taught me a lot of emotional discipline. Even though I did everything right, it showed me that pain can either make you bitter or it can make you better. And oftentimes heartbreak is a mirror to who you are truly as a person, because you're very vulnerable, you're very hurt, it sucks, etc. And the thing that really you should get off from heartbreak, is that sometimes you need a heartbreak to understand that you have to put yourself first before anyone else. You have to love yourself first. You have to learn how to love yourself first, because when you do, you start doing things for yourself, for your betterment. You start reading books, you start investing in mentorships, you start traveling, you start doing things to make yourself better. Because at the end of the day, you are the person who you're going to spend the most amount of time with. And if you don't like the person who you are, that's just going to be very horrible and it's going to suck. So that's the second event. The third event obviously is failures. The first time I failed a marketing agency was back in college. I was helping a friend and we were doing some sort of lead generation for doctors, chiropractors, all this kind of stuff. And I remember perfectly, we printed out maybe 50 different pitches for every single doctor around the area, and we drove everywhere. And I literally had to knock on doors and speak with their assistants and give them a piece of paper that said, hey, we are whatever agency and we help people with whatever leads, etc. And we signed 0 clients from it. It failed, the agency failed, and that's just one out of many failures that I had. You often see me wear black t-shirts, and let me show you actually. This was a company that I built. It was a t-shirt company that I built when I was in Nashville, and it failed completely. I remember the minimum order quantity for it was 2,000 shirts or 3,000 shirts. So I had to order 3,000 shirts just to see if I could sell them. And it failed horribly. I sold 0 shirts, nothing. I sold nothing, literally. And not only that, now I have thousands of shirts back in my old house, and I had nothing to do with those. So I've donated them. I have a couple. I wear them all the time. But I failed that, and that's a second failure. I've also started e-commerce businesses with friends. Failed completely. Maybe we sold a couple hundred of those. I failed as well. And one failure that I don't speak about often is I actually played professional football, soccer for Americans in Brazil for very, very little. I think it was like maybe 3 months. I actually signed a professional contract for a first division team in Brazil, and I failed. I couldn't make it out of the B team or whatever. I never actually made it far, and it was so hard that I remember crying alone in a shared room that I had with other kids. I just understood that I couldn't make it. So I failed at my dream of becoming a professional football player. So I completely failed that as well. And each time it felt like I wasted months of my life pursuing something. And oftentimes I just cried to God and said, why did you make me waste all this time for nothing? Either had my bank accounts drained or my confidence drained, or the shame of like, I failed. But obviously all those failures gave me data, and all those failures really just honed in on the idea of like, this is not what you're meant for. You're not meant for football. You're not meant for e-com. You're not meant for agencies. Oh, I also had another agency. That one didn't fail. I actually made good money with a huge client, but I just pivoted to something different. That's a different story. But yeah, don't fear failure. Document it. Show it to the world, because those are cool stories at the end of the day. And the lesson here is like, you have to keep trying things. You have to keep doing things, because it's worse. Like the pain of failure is not as bad as the pain of what if. What if I should have done that? What if I did this? What if I just do it? The fourth event is uncertainty. And if you're an entrepreneur, you live in uncertainty. But for example, when I was 17, I moved countries to a place I've never been before ever in my life, which I studied in Tampa. Never been there before. And I decided to, make a life there. So I moved. That's the first move. And then I'm in Spain, and I moved to a place that I never knew before. I came here last year. I fell in love with the city, and I decided to move. I think in 30 something days or 40 something days, I completely moved my entire life from Colombia after I got kicked out of the US to Spain. Now I live in Spain, and it was like so out of the sudden, like I just want to go. It was very, very stressful 6 months of trying to get everything done here, residency, etc. All the paperwork, all the bureaucracy. If you're an expert in Spain, you understand what I'm talking about. But it's the risk taking of not knowing what's coming after that. And I don't care about like the new culture, the new way of living, because I'm fine. Like I've traveled plenty, and that's okay. But it's the uncertainty at the time of like, if I don't get the visa that I now have, I have to go back. And it was very stressful because I had to apply twice. So it's the uncertainty of like, you don't know what's coming up next. And once you live in uncertainty, you kind of develop this like nonchalant, like it just doesn't matter. Like, that you do everything in your power, and if it doesn't work the way you want it to work, it's fine. You're gonna do it again. And uncertainty teaches you that. Once you go through uncertainty many different times, you just know that most of the times it's not the end of the world, which is fine. So uncertainty is definitely something that you have to go through. You have to develop this thick skin of being able to make decisions without having all the information in front of you. And my best clients are the ones that take action without having to know all the information prior to. So uncertainty is huge. And the last one, if you're an entrepreneur, you know this, it's isolation. It's loneliness, it's feeling like nobody gets you, it's losing friends. Like from college to today, I've lost many, many friends, and now we have a core group of like six guys, and that's all I need. But through you building your dream, you're going to see that you're going to lose people. There's a season in life where like none of my friends understood me or understood what I was going through. There was nobody I could share the wins with. There was nobody I could share the losses with. So it was just all me. The silence sometimes becomes very hard, and you start to question yourself if you're doing the right thing, if you're going the right path, and you have a lot of me time and a lot of conversations with yourself at night of questioning everything, because there's nobody that really understands what you're going through, and it's very hard. But what isolation forced me to gain different abilities, like just try different things. I dove into reading more books, for example. I dove into trying different courses, buying different mentorship things. If you see back there, that's my Bible. So like getting closer to God, meditating, trying jiu-jitsu, trying different things. So isolation really forces you to step out of your comfort zone, which is a good thing. And it's something that I still struggle with, is just sitting in silence and sitting to listen to God, because essentially he's the CEO of my business. And isolation is something that you're going to go through, especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're working harder than ever and you don't have time for anyone else. And people are going to start calling you selfish. People are going to start not inviting you to things. People are going to start forgetting about you. And honestly, I think that's the price of greatness. But if you feel lonely, if you feel like you're going through a place where like nobody understands, use that time. Don't use that time to indulge in bad habits, but instead use that time to rebuild yourself or build yourself, to journal, to pray, to develop this relationship with yourself. Because at the end of the day, you will attract the people that align with you. And if you're somebody that doesn't have success habits, if you're not somebody who has great skills, if you're not somebody who has a solid foundation in business, then it's going to be harder for you to connect with people who are high up. But at the same time, you're doing so many different things that it's going to be very hard to connect with people who are way below you, as far as like, if you're an entrepreneur, then people who are just still in 9 to 5, who don't understand what you're doing. So you're stuck in this limbo. All you have to do is just really build yourself up so that you can start having more proximity to those people who are doing the things you want to be doing. Isolation can be a really good thing. All in all, this is especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you're any like my clients who are all coaches in a bunch of different niches. At the end of the day, you just have to understand that building a business and being a successful entrepreneur is extremely hard, especially because not only are you building a business, you're also going through a lot of hard life events that are going to like literally change your life. The life events I can't control. But if you're wanting to grow, scale, and systemize your coaching business, well, that's exactly what I do inside the Coaching OS, which is an entire system I built and installed in coaching businesses so they can grow their business, so that they can guarantee client results and their clients stay for longer, they get them testimonials, and it feels like a business that's enjoyable to run. So if you want to see how that works, I'll drop a link down below in the description so you can see a full video breakdown of what we do inside the Coaching OS and how my coaching clients are making 100K months consistently and enjoying the process. And I know YouTube is very smart, so whatever video it's recommending, I promise you that's the next video you have to watch. So I'll see you there, and hopefully it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.